Hey, and welcome back to Wheat Beat. My name is Mike. Today's kind of an interesting day. I'm getting my deck oven. This has been a long time in the making. I already have the convection oven. You can see the link up above if you want to kind of catch up on what we've been doing with building a micro bakery inside my house. Right now, I'm kind of waiting outside by the garage. I'm sort of nervously waiting for this 18-wheeler to show up with my deck oven. I don't really know how big this pallet is going to be. I don't know if I'm going to have room to put it in my garage. Yeah, it needs to sit here basically for a couple of weeks until the installer can come and put it in the bakery. So it's a little nerve-wracking, and I'm just kind of going to be optimistic and hope that everything turns out well. So join me today as we get the deck oven. All right, he's heading in now. The guy actually called me right now on the phone to say, "Are you aware I'm driving a 53-footer?" Because he thought he was bringing the oven to a commercial bakery, and here he is in a residential area with a bunch of homes, and he's thinking, how am I going to turn my truck around? So I reassured him everything's okay. We have a turnaround spot here. I've had lots of deliveries with common carriers, so we should be good to go. And he was like, okay. But he's coming right now, and we're gonna see how this all unfolds. That is big, I'll give you that. All right, we're trying to move this thing into position. There's the oven inside there. And right now the dilemma is how to get it up on this curb because it's on wheels. So we're gonna try to reposition this giant truck into the right location here. He just needs to be able to get that lift gate on the curb so that we don't have to roll the oven up on the curb itself. Oh. All right, this is proving very complicated because we're having a really hard time getting this thing off the truck. But slowly but surely, we'll try to get it onto the driveway. Okay, that did not work at all. We tried everything. The angle and the stops on these wheels, everything together just did not work. So now we're on to the next thing, which is he's gonna pull this forward. We're gonna drop it on the street and pull it off somewhere else. Pull it up on a different ramp. Over there where there's like a handicap ramp over there or something, it's a lot more of a gentle slope. So we're gonna try to just drop it on the street and do that. All right, we got it in. Now for the next one. That in there is a bread slicer, but that should be a piece of cake to get out compared to what we just endured with the oven. All right, there he goes. We got it in. We have our 2-deck ABS 282 right here. And then in this box, we have a bread slicer. So we kind of got a 2-for-1. On top of this is, you can see this package here on the top of the oven is actually a hand setter. This is sort of the poor man's version of a loader for putting your products inside the oven. So we are going to take all of this stuff out of the packaging and take a look and see what we got. Okay, so we got the hand setter out, and this is what it looks like. It's actually not too heavy. And turn it over here and take a look at this thing. Pull on this tab here, and then you load your products onto here, and then you put it on top of the oven, and then you can roll this thing inside as you pull it out. And obviously there's some mechanism involved, and I'm going to figure it out. But anyhow, this is the hand setter for loading the products into the oven. So we're going to set that aside. All right, we're starting to unwrap it here, and It says it's top heavy. Yeah, no kidding. This thing is extremely top heavy. So let's peel this back and see what we got under here. All right, next thing I want to see here is what's behind this panel. So I guess if I open this side panel up, we can pull this thing off and see what's behind the panel. See what's behind door number 1 and door number 2. So obviously there are 2 ovens, and wow, this looks surprisingly very similar to the convection oven, which I recently had some major events with. Click the link up above if you want to see what happened with that. But these kinds of terminal block type things look very familiar to me. So do these breakers. These things get pushed in when it receives power. It closes a connection between these 2 wires and it basically activates the oven. There's some more breakers over here, and there's some kind of a thermostat, I think. I'm not sure what this does, and I'm certainly not going to rotate it. This looks like a ground wire that connects the 2 wires. They've given me some extra fuses, I think that's what that is, which is pretty cool. But obviously the bottom is going to be the same as the top. The nice thing about these ovens, just like with the convection oven that I mentioned in the last video, is that, wow, you know, this looks pretty simple. There's not a lot of complicating things. If a heating element, which I assume is what this is, goes bad, you pull this thing out, you follow the wire and where it goes, and you basically reconnect a new one. So it's pretty straightforward that way. Let's take a look and see what's on the other side of this oven when we take off the panels. All right, here we are on the other side. And I'm a little more tight with space here. But the good thing is that this is not really the business end of the oven in terms of the electrical. I'm not sure, but my guess is that this is a steam generating tank. And there's also some kind of a thermostat, I think that is. It's set at 150. I'm gonna guess it's 150 degrees Celsius, and it builds pressure in here with steam. And then these look like solenoids that might open and close the steam valve, basically to inject the oven with steam. Do I know this for sure? No, I don't, but I think it's a pretty good guess. And I'm not going to bother opening the one on the bottom because I think it's going to be exactly the same. Okay, there it is. And I discovered on top of the oven, they gave me this extremely long brush, which I assume is to clean the inside of the chamber. And I got it for free. So, wow, what a deal. You buy a really nice deck oven and you get a free brush. But anyhow, so far everything looks great. I don't see any shipping damage, which is great too. And then let's open this up and see. Oh, can't really open it up too much because there's stuff in here, like some air cushion thing, and then I can see the stone deck on the bottom, and then there's obviously some sort of hardware. Let's look at this one down below. Yep, the same kind of thing. There's like some kind of an airbag in here to protect the stone floor, and I can see the stone floor is broken up into 2, and then there's some more hardware in here. I assume this is probably some kind of a flute or something for the top for venting. I'll leave that in there, but there's the door opening and closing, which is cool. So we're good. I have the appliance guy coming in about, I think, a week and a half or maybe even 2. He is going to have to take this thing apart and use special equipment to do that in order to put it back together inside the bakery so we can get it through the door. Stay tuned for that video. Last on my list is the slicer. So let's get that opened up and see what it looks like. Okay, and there is the bread slicer. Now, don't let it fool you. This doesn't look like much, but it is shockingly heavy. Shockingly heavy. I would just have to emphasize that. I just tried to slide it on the floor here, and it took all my might just to slide it a little bit. So it is extremely heavy, and it will be interesting to see how we're going to get this inside the bakery, but I'm not as worried as with the oven. So I guess you pull this lever, and then you put the bread in there, and then you let it go, and it kind of pushes it through into the blades that are over here somewhere. And then there's like a breadcrumb drawer here. And these things, I guess, catch the bread. And then I would assume there's some way for me to bag the bread pretty easily from where it comes out here. Now, of course, since this is a 110 volt machine, one of the few things in this bakery, I am going to plug it in right now and turn it on because I just have to. All right, I assume the way that you activate this thing is you pull the lever. So let me just see what happens if I pull the lever. Whoa. Yeah. So when I pulled the lever, it turned it on, and you could see those blades in there vibrating up and down, and they look awfully scary. I would hate to put your finger in there. Not recommended. This is set for 13 millimeters, which is about a 1/2 inch slice. So probably in a very future video, not far away, maybe even the next one, I'll put a couple of loaves in here and we'll see how it works. And I'm excited for that because frankly, I'm tired of slicing so many loaves every day. So that'll be really nice. And when I sell these loaves pre-cut, I think people will appreciate that. Instead of just getting whole loaves, they have to cut at home. So this is going to be put to good use. It's been very eventful today, just getting this oven up to the driveway, let alone get it into the bakery. So we're going to continue this adventure in another video, but that's all I'm going to have for today. And until we meet next time, go bake something.